Hi, my name is Nacho, welcome back to the channel. And you know, for a brief moment I thought that the wheel of this gay-ass Prius had been taken by someone somewhat capable of appealing to the oh-so-masculine fanbase Kathleen Kennedy has been so naggy about, and steered it in the right direction to give us a Star Wars we can actually enjoy. But the amount of time that it took me to say, oh, this is looking good, it was, until I got to the lightsaber haircut scene. Then I remember what shit I was watching. This show has definitely caused a stir, and the good thing coming out of it is that a large part of the audience is united in the agreement that the Acolyte is absolutely terrible. And this episode, surprisingly enough, wasn't that bad. But even if you are the prettiest turd in the septic tank, I'm sorry to say, but you're still shit. Now, there's also a bad side of this, because this is Disney Star Wars, and because they champion diversity.
There's no way we're hiring a white male.
Equality.
Besides when it's spoken.
And inclusion.
No way we're hiring a white male that's spoken.
That's kind of racist.
Yes.
Disney.
Very racist.
A lot of people blindly support them, even to the extreme length of making everything the show does, not even average sometimes, to be the best shit that has ever been done in the franchise. I'll jump ahead in the review a little bit to address the most commonly mentioned topic on Twitter. You see, there's a big lightsaber battle in this episode, and the Disney Shills were quick to call this the best choreographed lightsaber fight in all of Star Wars. Retrograde amnesia is the inability to access information or memories from before an injury occurred. The injury in question this time being the Acolyte. How can you forget the Duel of the Fates or the Duel of Mustafar? There's moments during all the fights in this episode where they stop or ricochet their lightsabers without hitting anything. Even in the busy tree set they chose to make it hard to see the slow choreos, there's moments when people swing their lightsabers at nothing, not even close to the Sith Lord that's in front of them. I'm not even a fight choreographer, and I noticed that with the naked eye, and it jumped at me like a kangaroo at a windshield. I will say though that the fight with X-23 was a lot more enjoyable than the other ones, and I did like the fighting style they gave Darth Gimp over here, but I'll get to that later. The point is that the amount of cope people are coming up to defend this show is insane, and I get it. There's stuff done in various previous Star Wars that people weren't complaining about back then and are doing it now, like the lightsaber colors that I mentioned in the last video. The thing is, they always quote or point at 1 or 2 things that a certain movie did wrong and another 2 things from this other film or show, but this one does them all. If they are that bad in isolation, how bad can they be combined? I'll tell you how bad, being the lowest rated Star Wars show in history bad. And if you find yourself sending death threats to one of the biggest Star Wars creators on YouTube because he's calling the show out and you don't like it, I got news for you, buddy. You're in the bad side of the fandom. But enough theatrics, we pick up where we left off in the previous episode, with Osha waking up from getting force pushed, and after just walking a few meters, we already have dead Jedi. In the distance, we have the greatest lightsaber battle, allegedly, happening behind a lot of fucking trees, and it's okay. Turns out that him headbutting lightsabers is possible because of the material that his helmet and his braces are made of, called cortosis, that has the unique ability of shortcutting lightsabers, but needs to be combined with other materials in order to actually provide protection. Okay, I'll take it. I had to find out all of that by myself because there's no shot that this show gets even close to explaining any of it, but it makes for a cool fighting style, so I dig it. Now, all the unknown Jedi drop like flies. That slice should have taken his leg right off, and it's not even close. They have no chance to win, and that's pretty obvious when the bad guy has its back turned towards you and you swing your lightsaber at everything but him. They really thought that the trees and having only one camera would come in handy, eh? That people wouldn't notice. She's an Asian woman, she'll be fine. Okay, maybe not. Now, during all that fighting, Osha has been slowly creeping up to him and slowly drawing her taser, and she chooses to fire before he strikes Yord. I'll have you remember that in the previous episode, Yord wanted to take it from her because of reasons. But the stun does nothing to him, and now he's locked in on Osha. What's crazy watching this bag is that he could have easily turned, fucking kill Yord, and then begin chasing her. But okay, what's next? Something that happens a lot during this episode is that people just appear in places. There's no sense of how far someone has moved because whenever the plot needs them, they are there, like Sol is now stopping that lightsaber boomerang. Now this is nitpicking, but judging by the angle of that cut, it's only logical that the tree would slide and fall forward, right? Wrong. So now Sol faces the Sith, I mean the stranger. Ooh.
You don't remember me.
Why will he remember you? you're wearing a fucking helmet to hide your identity. He even says that when he takes it off later.
You carry a Jedi weapon.
He's carrying a Sith weapon with a bled kyber crystal. This should be known by the Jedi since the Sith has been around before this time.
But you are no Jedi.
That's because he's a Sith. May exits the cabin and is intercepted by X-23, so they start fighting.
You're injured.
Fine. Sol gave me an order. I don't want to have to subdue you, but I will.
Very smart, Yord. You being injured are no help for the battle, so insisting on taking Osha to the ship while the Padawan and her master fight, that's a good plan. Get to safety, follow your orders, and inform everyone who's behind the Jedi killings. That will make sense, right?
What is he, Yord?
He's a Sith.
I don't know.
He's a Sith.
There's no method to his movements. It doesn't make sense.
It does make sense. He is a Sith. They should have studied them. The Sith Order was created about 5,000 years before them. They have been fighting them for millennia. The fact that no one knows what a Sith is at this point not only is an insult to the lore, but to the fans' intelligence. To think that any respectable Jedi wouldn't be sure if the guy killing them with a red lightsaber, all dressed in black, is a Sith or not, it's beyond stupid. That's why it breaks the lore.
He gets into your head and he stays there.
My mother could do that.
Well, your mother was an evil witch bastard. Thank God she's dead. So X-23 restrains May, takes the Wookiee's saber, but then Smilo arrives and attacks her. And again, this fight between these two is actually decent. But how come it's the Padawan that's keeping up against the Sith Lord, while multiple Jedi Knights, who technically should have had more experience, ate spoons full of shit? This girl went from twirling a wooden sword to dual-wielding lightsabers against the Sith in the span of one episode, by the way. But he destroys one of them and disappears to chase May. We're back at the part of the Force where the Bucks were, and Osha sets up what will later be the most stupid plan ever devised by a woman since keeping up with the Kardashians. Smilo catches May and cuts her cuffs off for some reason before trying to kill her, until Sol and X-23 appear out of nowhere at the same time and start fighting him. And again, good fight. There's some good hand-to-hand combat mixed in to compensate for the block sabers, and I like it. They still swing their sabers at nothing in some parts, lots of twirling, but at least they are doing something. Now, because this show has to be dumb, Osha senses a voice and tells Yord that they have to go back because otherwise he's gonna kill them all. Yes, I know, that's why we are escaping. Going back would only get us killed too. But Yord doesn't put any more resistance and follows the game mechanic back through the forest. The fight continues. Sol tackles Smilo off a rock and X-23 jumps after him, lands a couple of good shots and continues to attack blindly when he pulls a second lightsaber from his hilt and stabs her in the chest. She'll be fine. She'll come back on the next episode with nothing but a scar and... oh. She's fine, okay? Nothing that a little bit of force healing can't fix. She's a queer woman after all, and you can't kill a queer woman. Not in this version of Star Wars at least. But the reveal that surprised no one. The Sith Lord was Ezra Miller. Who could have seen that coming? Everyone. They're being easily overpowered by her friend. Yeah, that guy is a Sith. According to Leslye Headland, in order to make a good twist, you can't hide it from the audience. You have to telegraph it a bit. In that case, it's not a twist, you fucking moron. But guess what? People are defending this. Because apparently this show went from a decent Disney Star Wars romp, decent, to a Jedi bloodbath and a story in which the villains are going to likely win. The villains have already won. They got $180 million to make this, and they made the entire franchise about themselves.
She was a child.
You brought her here.
I never thought I'd be agreeing with the Sith Lord so much, but I guess I, much like Disney, have developed a taste for villainy.
What are you?
I have no name. But a Jedi like you might call me Sith.
No way! He's a Sith! I thought he was a Knight of Ren. What a twist! Leslye Headland is a genius. No wonder she was able to cover up her involvement with Harvey Weinstein. Her IQ must be out of this planet. Fuck the show, man, honestly. The fact that Darth Jason is here saying I'm a Sith and they adding Ki-Adi-Mundi to the last episode makes the line "the Sith has been extinct for a millennia" completely redundant and literally lays the plot ass up on the floor from the very start. Because the only way they can make a Sith work during this period without breaking everything is if no one leaves that planet alive, which they do. by the way. And even if they don't, is no one in the small council gonna ask what happened to the search party we sent to Kofar? Any news of that person that was training a pupil to kill Jedi? Much like the... what were their names? Soth. No. Seth. No. Who were the guys in black with red lightsabers who like to kill Jedi?
The Sith.
The Sith, that's the one. Funny I forgot about them, said Kiari Mundi after reaching the High Council. How are people defending this?
What do you want?
Freedom. The freedom to wield my power the way I like, without having to answer to Jedi like you.
Freedom to wield your power however you like without answering to anyone? Much like the lesbian space witches. So they must be evil. Now, this is taking way too long for very obvious reasons. Trust me, I would have opened a new hole in that bitch's face 2 minutes ago. But we had to wait for Yor to get there and jump Smilo, and I'm going to hell for this joke.
I don't know. I just thought...
Surprise.
Yes! I mean, oh no, he died. Oh, now she's hitting her targets. But Saul goes off on Smilo and actually starts beating his ass. But before he kills the evil Sith Lord, the guy behind the death of his Padawan, multiple masters and knights, including Yord, who's now missing functional parts of his neck, he has all the reasons to kill him and rid the galaxy of this major threat. Osha stops him. And this pissed me off, because until now the episode was going okay. What she does is basically a carbon copy of Anakin stopping Windu from killing the Emperor. The difference is, Anakin had reasons to do that. He thought he needed the Emperor's power to save Padme, so he was lured to the dark side. Osha stops Saul because Jedi killing bad. But Saul, as a Jedi Master, much like Windu, should understand that leaving him alive is worse. But let's say it's okay. Because Saul is not like Windu and he is more pure in the Jedi beliefs, so he doesn't want to give in to emotion. That's fair. But what makes this scene an honorary writer of the short bus is that Osha, instead of letting Saul confirm the kill on Smilo, attaches a flashlight to his back so the tree bugs can kill him. Why? He's definitely gonna survive that. What made you think that that was a good plan? In this confusion, they try to advance the mystery box of what was the bad thing that Saul did to Osha until May sneaks behind the Jedi Master, who doesn't sense her presence or bloodlust, and tases him. May and Osha now have a chat, and it's crazy how she went from loving Osha to wanting her dead, to quitting her mission of killing Jedi to be with her, to saying that the Jedi brainwashed her, to knocking her unconscious and cutting her hair with a lightsaber, mind you, so she can pass as her and kill Saul so Osha can finally be with her. Pick a lane, woman. Now, outside the obvious reasons why this is cringe, first of all, ain't no way that the lightsaber cut her hair neatly enough to pass as her sister. Second, she burned her hair off. The smell alone will give her away. But mainly, how can Saul confuse them when she has a very clear lesbian witch mark on her fucking forehead? The fact that she cuts her hair makes it that much easier to spot. Plus, can't he sense her? I know they're twins, but fuck me, one of them killed multiple people. There's no way that he can't spot the difference between them. The goddamn rodent, not the powerful Jedi Master, is gonna be the one who's gonna notice and call it out. Oh, Smile survived, no freaking way, dude. And he found Osha, says a deep line, don't care, and force heals her. Fucking force heals her. Which means that the ability that Anakin wanted to save Padme, which he didn't learn on his own despite being the chosen one, was completely lost between now and the originals, only to be rediscovered by Rey like 180 years later, despite being amongst the Sith this entire time. The only explanation for this being a thing now is if this guy dies without anyone knowing he was a Sith, without writing it down, without taking an apprentice and teaching him stuff, or if he's the apprentice and there's a bigger Sith Lord, although I doubt it, because there has to be two at all times, that's the rule, and he didn't taught this to his new apprentice, which would lead to this knowledge being lost and Sidious not learning it by the time of the prequels. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. And I'm probably missing a lot here, because I'm not a Star Wars expert, but this was added merely for plot conveniences and because it looks cool, but it's otherwise completely out of place. And you know what's crazy? Manny Jacinto did an interview and described what was the goal with this character, and I quote, "We wanted a character that was not just oppressive and powerful. So they gave him the ability to float, an armor that disables lightsabers, strong enough force pushes to send multiple Jedis flying, as well as being able to pull them into stuff without them being able to resist it, a lightsaber that splits into two for surprise attacks, combat skills that rival those of a master, and force healing?
We wanted a character that isn't just a Darth Vader type of guy who overpowers the screen.
Then what the fuck is this then? How are they even gonna kill this guy? I'll tell you what's gonna happen, something stupid like Osha finding the force or threat within her and making him eat his saber or some shit like that. Or they'll think he's dead after throwing him in a volcano or something, cause this show has zero originality, and he'll come out disfigured and taking the name of Dark Tenebris and they'll hitchhike him into the main lore, which they've now broken in multiple occasions. These are short episodes. I shouldn't be making videos this long about them, but because there's so many things wrong with it, I cannot stop myself. And no matter what anyone says, especially the shill media getting paid to defend this show is not being butchered by reviewers because of sexism, misogyny, or harassment to the cast, told Tassie. This show is tanking because it's terribly written, terribly acted, terribly choreographed, because it stars a racist hypocrite who's shedding on the very journalists that defend her, and it's produced by an evil, talentless woman who hates men. It deserves to be shit on. House of the Dragon has multiple female leads, a diverse cast, as well as multiple action and sci-fi elements to it, much like the Acolyte, but the people like it, cause unlike this show, it is not utter dog shit. But if you watch this far into the video, leave a like, check out this video next for a review of the previous episodes, and as always I've been Nacho, hope you enjoyed the video, I'll see you in the next one, take care.